Hello, beautiful people. I made a simple slideshow to recap my FMO3 results. If you don't recall or haven't watched my videos recently, I made a recent video showcasing my FMO3 gene results to determine if I have TMAU. So I'm going to go over them for you. First off, I want to tell you where I got gene tested. So I got gene tested within the Mayo Clinic. Currently, I live in Jacksonville, Florida, and this is the location where the Mayo Clinic is. I spoke to a geneticist about possibly having TMAU, and I wanted to test my FMO3 gene to determine whether or not I have TMAU. I'm going to talk about the connections with a TMAU and an FMO3 gene later. I took a saliva test from Fulgent, which for self-pay costs about $540. Now, first off, I do want to go over what is a gene. And genes are sections of DNA that code for a specific trait. For example, it could be eye color, it could be height, it could be metabolism, it could be weight. Within this picture here, you see a cell, and in the nucleus, you see different chromosomes. And the chromosomes, it makes up the DNA strands, and the gene is the specific segment within the DNA that will have a specific trait. Example, eye color, height, metabolism. So, what is FMO3 gene, and how is it related to TMAU? So the FMO3 gene is responsible for breaking down TMA to TMAO. If you have some type of faulty FMO3 gene, or it's mutated in some way where it cannot break down TMA properly, it will build up excess in your system and secrete out your body through sweat, breath, all the different bodily fluids, and cause an unpleasant smell. Many people within this community believe that they have TMAU because they have abnormal body odor, but they don't know what is causing that. And I also believe that there was a possibility of TMAU. So I did urine tests, and now this is a gene testing to determine finally if I have TMAU and there's some type of dysfunction in my FMO3 gene. So what did my FMO3 results reveal? I have a homozygous risk allele. Now, some people might ask, what is an allele? Let me sort of break down or simplify it in a way, because it's way more complex, but this is a simplified version. An allele is an alternative version of a specific gene. So, when I spoke earlier about genes having the coded information of a specific trait, like eye color, weight, etc., in this example, an allele is an alternative version of that specific gene, or an alternative trait for that specific trait. So when we talk about eye color for a gene, the allele would be the different versions of the eye color. So it could be green, blue, hazel, brown. You see? So it's the different versions of that gene, if that makes sense. And a homozygous allele is having identical alleles of the same trait. So for example, since I mentioned the different variety of colors, let's say I have brown eyes, which I do have brown eyes. If I had a homozygous allele, I had two different DNA strands and two segments of the allele that made up the version of brown eyes. And when you have a homozygous allele, you have a higher likelihood of possessing that specific trait. Okay? So going back to the results, I have a homozygous risk allele, and the reason why it's a risk allele is because it's been associated with trimethylamine based on several studies. However, it will only be possible that I have this disease-causing effect if it was accompanied by another allele. So this is the name of the allele that I would also have to have if I definitely did in fact have trimethylamine. So my doctor told me that many people have this form of allele, the allele that I currently have, which is right up here. And when I say many people, I mean millions of people. However, within the millions of people who have this allele, there is no detection of them possessing some abnormal body odor. Therefore, the presence of TMAU results were negative. So, now, what's the next step? So currently, I took some saliva sample to do exome sequencing. And if anybody doesn't know what exome sequencing is where you analyze the 22,000 genes that are within your body. And the gene testing was done through a company called GeneDx. It's very expensive. If I had to do insurance, it would have been $4,000, but I did a self-pay, which was $1,500. takes around 35 days for me to get my results back. So maybe sometime in September or October I will receive the results. So if there are any anomalies or mutations with any of my genes, this will be good news, because now we can examine the gene and see if there is any type of a connection between abnormal body odor through further testing. However, if I do get my results back and there is nothing noteworthy to talk about in terms of the genes that they examined, I'm going to try to apply for undiagnosed disease program like the UDN, the UAB, or Discover programs, and many other programs that are available that I got information from the GUARD nonprofit organization. So yeah, that's where I'm at currently. Other than that, man, I just wanted to break all that down because I haven't made a video in some time. Hopefully you all have a good day. Bye.